It's my sister's birthday today, and she's asked me to make her some special throwing knives. Very simple design, but they should look pretty cool, and they should be fun to make. So we're going to make them out of this mystery metal, and we'll see how they come out. We're doing it this way because I'm too cheap to make the whole thing out of 1095. I don't really have enough. That should give us 2 knife tips. This is version 1. If we mess it up, we'll do it again. Straight edge, workpiece. A little bit of blue. Oops. Well, let's hit the sander. Let me see if I can't clean up this grind with a hand file. It's pretty awful. It's kind of concave. One side of it worked pretty well, but they're not even. I'm going to clean it up with a hand file. Sharp. The moral, kids, is be careful when you're using a brush and an angle grinder. Make sure there are no rags nearby, because this could happen to you. Pretty close to those veins there, huh? Oh well. Still alive. Well, we're done. 1095 is really annoying to work with when you don't have the right tools. I formed the edges here with, what did I use, an angle grinder, and used a small file to do the actual final edge on it. So this one that's straight 1095 has an ugly grind, but is much sharper and nicer. This one that has only 1095 on the front, welded on to 1018, looks a little bit nicer. The grind looks a little bit better, but it's not nearly as sharp as this other one for whatever reason. So anyway, all done. Now we're going to etch them, put some custom logo on it. They came out pretty good. Finish is good. You can see a couple of little spots there from the bad welding. My TIG welder was acting up seriously. I had a problem with my argon. I used my wife's craft cutter to cut out the vinyl in the shape that we were going to etch. That was then transferred to the metal using some contact paper. I guess this is a common technique with vinyl people. There it is stuck on there, and we just slop the ferric chloride on there. It's pretty much that simple. There's no electricity or anything. This process doesn't make a very deep etch, but it's really noticeable and it stands out. At this point, I waited for about 3 weeks until I had the furnace or the forge fired up. Turned out to be the casting furnace in this case, so I put the whole blade in there, got it non-magnetic, and then quenched it in brine. It developed a really weird oxide scale that was pretty difficult to remove. Well, here we are. Let's take a look so far. As you can see, the finish post-hardening is pretty good. However, it's still fragile as glass.
let's step away from the workshop for a minute for some tempering time.
Well, the tempering seems to have gone pretty well. I don't know if this is the right color. I'm not being all sciencey about it. Ran this for, I don't know, an hour? 500 degrees last night? I don't really remember. Quite a nice dark color, deep. And it's a throwing knife, so the edge doesn't really have to be sharp. So I'm not going to sharpen it anymore. Just going to leave it as it is. It's not even ground perfectly either. There's one side that could do with a little more grinding. Not going to touch it. It'll throw just fine. So I'm just going to put some gear oil on it, see how that affects the finish and keep it from rusting further. Gear oil, because that's all I have around. That's what I use for drilling on the lathe. Interesting, it turns it from a light blue into a very dark purple. That's pretty cool. Yeah, nice and dark. I like that blue look. It's cool. See if that'll focus. See, it gets kind of a deep reddy brown color with the oil on it. It's uneven. Probably because, you know, crappy amateur job. But that's okay. I don't care. So there it is. Third one in the set.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
Napoleon, like anyone can even know that.